Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Zedspora Podcast. Today, as you can see, I am very excited as we have a very special guest in the house, guys. Woo! If I look a little bit discombobulated, it's because I am. Because listen, I've been working over the clock to make sure I put things together to ensure that this podcast is gonna go off without a hitch. With our guest, she's been so generous to join us today, all the way from Lusaka.
Yes.
I'm not getting that wrong, right?
No, that's correct.
There you go. And I'm very excited to get on with this podcast. I mean, with the intro, I'm going to have to kind of take my time in terms of just going through her accolades and everything that she does out there. I mean, the podcast has been 5 months in the making, and we've been talking back and forth just to ensure, and then it just so happened that she took a trip to London for business, and that's how we've ended up here today. I mean, Kaajal, welcome, also known as KC.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what do you think of our digs here?
This is beautiful. This is really fun, colourful, professional.
There you go.
Really lovely.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Before we get into it, because I know there's so much to get into, and I'm really just looking forward to hearing from you everything that you do, your work, and that word means more than one thing, by the way. It's not just the work as in Cheeto, but we're talking about work as in life's work, as in family work, as in legacy, and it's exciting times. I'm just looking forward to what you're going to be able to give to our audience. So in terms of the intro, guys, forgive me, I'm gonna have to read it to do it justice. If I say it from my head, hey, listen. So Kaajal, KC is a cultural wellness entrepreneur. Yeah, she is a diabetes wellness consultant, non-clinical. She is the founder of Diabetes by KC, a culturally relevant diabetes education, healthcare, and awareness advocacy. KC, she's the founder also of KC Sportswear, an African-inspired activewear brand.
Which is what I'm wearing right now.
Which is what she's wearing. She's going to show you. You'll be able to see it there. Put the camera on there. Her background, she was born in London, believe it or not. So she's a true Zedsporian. Diaspora.
I am proper diaspora, yes.
Oh my God. Lived between Zambia and England.
UK, yes.
But is a true patriot because, man, this lady has a heart for Zambia. And even in my background, like speaking to you, I was just amazed at just how much passionate you are, about the country. And it's something to inspire even some of us that have left, for a long time. You're asking me, when's the last time I went back home? And I was saying it's 2012, but I always think about it. It's like, I know, right? Oh, I see that. Oh my God. Listen.
The country's changing. There's opportunities.
Right.
There's growth.
No, looking forward to hearing some of the things that are going on. I mean, to be fair, the list is endless. There's so much that you've done. Before we begin, I know you're a health person. Yes. You are an avid blogger or vlogger, rather, online.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, I do follow you. You're very passionate about what you do online. And one of the things is your diabetes advocacy. Where on Instagram, I'm not sure if you do it on LinkedIn as well.
To a certain degree.
Right,
but it's more about operations and the work I do and how diabetes affects that.
There you go. You post videos on there. You're quite vulnerable with it, and you share what looks like inner parts of yourself, which I'm certain that other people might keep, private. But I'm so impressed that you do that because I know it's going to go towards helping a lot of people. But before we even jump into that, as I went to the gym today, guys, I'm trying. I'm not there yet. So I got you something at the gym. I thought what would be most appropriate. So it's a smoothie. We're going to try it together to see what you think. And
first things first, as a diabetic, I'm going to ask, what's in it?
What's in it? Right. I took a picture. I took a picture. See, I was being mindful. I'm practicing mindfulness.
I mean, it's green, so it looks clean and fresh. So.
Oh, absolutely. I had it for the first time. I think it was like a month ago, and boy, it's one of the best movies I've had. Yeah, I don't want to hype it up. I'll leave it to you, but it's called The Green Revival. It's got mango, spinach, broccoli, avocado, coconut, pellets, I don't know what that is, ginger and lime with a little bit of apple juice.
Okay.
in there.
So the only thing I would have to think about is the mango and the apple juice. In that.
Right,
Everything
'cause
else
it's quite
is
sugary, right?
those are sugary, but the
Okay.
broccoli, which I've never had in a smoothie, the coconut water, I would presume, none of that has any carbohydrate or any sugar.
Right, okay.
So I would have to think about it from that point of view. So the thing is, it's probably got a lot of fiber, so it's going to absorb slowly. I will have a sip, but because I haven't taken my insulin on me, I have it if I need to.
I did think that way. I was like, man, is this a good idea? It seems like a good idea in theory because of the health aspect.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you educate me when it comes to the diabetes aspect. But as I stated, you don't have to take it now. I might have some.
No, let's have a sip.
I'll have a sip and see,
Let's see what this is
I
all
think you
about.
have to kind of mix it a little bit as well. Just
See,
do a little bit of a mix.
This is the thing. It's like I had this conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about bananas. Everyone's like...
It's as I remember it. Oh, it's proper. It is proper. And it's not as cold.
It's very fresh. It's a little bit tart, but it is sweet.
Proper.
So I'm wondering how much of it...
It's the mango and
That's
the
the
apple
thing.
juice that makes it sweet.
So how much of it is mango and how
Right,
much
how
of it
much
is
of apple juice?
Yeah.
I think that's where they finesse you, right?
Yeah.
Because I had it. I was like, oh my God, this movie, it's so nice.
But see, this is the thing. This is where it gets misleading in terms of health. A lot of people say fruit is a better
healthy.
option, is healthy
Right,
compared to
yeah.
chocolate, right? But the thing is, at the end of the day, fruit is still fruit, unless you're having it with something to slow down the absorption. So they say, like, if you're going to have a juice, have a smoothie in the sense to keep the fiber, like the skin of the fruit. Like the other day, I had a conversation with a friend and they were talking about banana smoothies. And I said, if I have a banana smoothie, my sugar levels will go high.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is, it will happen to everyone. The difference is if you're not a diabetic, your body will naturally bring that down. And that's okay. But for someone like me who doesn't produce any insulin, because I'm a type 1 diabetic, I would have to take the insulin for it. So as much as it's a healthy option, it's still a carbohydrate. It's not something that you can just...
Up your,
it's still going to spike.
sugars. Yeah, that's something I was going to try and ask you as well. Like, is there a difference when it comes to sugars? So it's like, what's the difference between the sugars that you get from like mangoes and bananas and things to the sugar, like the refined
Actual sugar.
The refined
At the end of the
sugar?
day,
Yeah,
it's all going to turn into glucose that the body will then put into the brain and the heart, the lungs. It's going to function. It's like a car, you put the petrol in. But one is a healthier version, one is a not a healthier version, I guess you could say. But they're all going to raise your blood sugar. So if you have a banana smoothie versus a chocolate bar, or let's just say putting sugar into your tea or coffee, they're both going to raise your blood sugar.
Yeah.
But the difference is the after effect on the body. I always believe like natural is healthier. There's still antioxidants. There's so many good things that come out of fruit versus added sugar, that those will compensate for other things, in the body for antioxidants. This is revival, so it's probably good for the skin. The ginger is good for, parts of the body. But the thing is, if you don't have the natural stuffs, and you keep having added sugar, over time, that sugar is just going to keep raising your blood. It's like eating junk.
It doesn't do anything.
It's not doing anything for you.
It's just there for the instant gratification.
Yeah. So you'd rather just have the natural stuffs. But the difference is, whether you're diabetic or not, you would still need to have something with that to slow down the absorption, so you don't have the spikes. Because the spikes are what cause heart disease, all sorts of things in the body. If you're a non-diabetic, your pancreas will bring insulin to match that blood sugar, so it won't spike.
Right,
but as type 2 gets type 2, or if you are pre-diabetic and you're already putting pressure on the body, that insulin level might not come to the level that needs to bring the sugar back down. Or there's insulin there, but you have resistance, which is usually type 2. And so even if the insulin is there, it's not doing the job. So you'll still have the high blood sugar. So they always say the ways to combat the spikes is to have that with maybe eggs on the side, like protein, or like something fatty, so peanut butter. What else? Something that's just not a carbohydrate. So it'll slow down. It's called wrapping the carbohydrate.
Right. That's very interesting. For people that don't have diabetes, how are they more prone to it? What would lead them like to a situation where they develop it and that kind of thing?
So if you have a wide waistline,
right,
you are already more likely to become diabetic. If you lead a sedentary lifestyle, you're sitting down all the time, you're not moving around, you're eating junk food. So you're already putting pressure on the pancreas to do this. It's like, I always say it's like a car. You're revving the car, because every time you eat some junk and you're not exercising, the pancreas has to send some insulin, So it's not just doing its job, you're putting it on hyperdrive, So that's going to put the pancreas, like whatever used to happen to our grandparents at like 60 or 70 is happening at a younger age because we're not exercising, we're sitting at a desk, we're putting pressure on the pancreas to do its job. Now, also, and this is where I'm passionate about the work I do, in communities of color, anyone who's got some melanin in their skin, we already have the genetics loaded for this. Okay. This is generations of DNA holding the diabetes gene, particularly type 2. So that's why when you hear stories of grandparents having diabetes when they're 60, 70, that's normal. We're all going to have it at some point. But it's also not normal because why are we getting it at 20 years old? You know, that's because it's like a gun. If the genetics are already in there, now we're just loading it and we're just about to shoot it by eating bad food and not exercising and not looking after yourself. So the gun's already loaded.
We're just waiting.
And if you change your lifestyle, you don't have to shoot that gun. You really don't have to shoot that gun. So it's the expression of the genetic structure that's in communities of color, which we already have, and people don't see that.
So, if I'm not mistaken, your diagnosis for diabetes came when you were 5 years old.
That's correct.
Right? And 5 years old, you're a child. So what was that like, right? And what are some of the things that you learned from a very early age on how to manage it and things like that? And obviously, I know as a child, I can't really ask you to say what was your emotional state, but what does that mean? Like, yeah.
So firstly, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is different to type 2.
Okay.
So, but the fundamentals of looking after yourself are similar, i.e. still look after yourself, eat well, etc., which is why, touch wood, I've had 35 years of diabetes with no complications, touch wood, everything is well.
Yes.
I believe that
and
everything
it shall continue to be well.
Yes. Amen. I believe that everything I've eaten, my mindset, having access to exercising, being outside, meditations, all these things, they have kept me well, such that the insulin that I need, I don't need that much.
Right. Okay.
Because I'm genuinely just, as I say, if we compare our bodies to a car, the car is actively moving well. So at 5 years old, I don't remember too much because obviously I was 5.
Right.
But what I do remember, and this is parts of it are from my mom's stories telling me, but she said to me, I mean, I used to go to Nkwazi school.
Okay.
And she would dress me up to get to class. And I'd lost so much weight, like when she'd put my underwear on me, they would just drop off.
No way.
And then I would wee the bed at night, and then I would go and sleep in her bed. And, you know, as a mom, she's going to hug me. And she could just feel bones on my hips because I'd lost so much weight.
Is this before or after they discovered that you had
Before. So, but this is why I keep saying, and my heart goes out to the caregivers of diabetics. My mom, her intuition was like, there's something wrong with my child, but I don't know what. Because imagine in 1994, we didn't have internet. We're out in Zambia. Like, we don't have...
There's no...
even magazines, they come 6 months.
Exactly.
And so I feel my heart will always go out to any mother. And whenever we have meetups, I always get my mom to come because she's like the godmother of this. She was like, my daughter's weeing her bed. She's losing weight and she's not herself.
Right.
But... again, you don't know what you don't know. So we went to, he came to England because my sister was getting married. Okay. And at the wedding, obviously big fat Indian family, all the cousins are there, aunties are there. And
enjoyment.
Exactly. And I didn't want to play with my cousins. And my mom was like, why is she like clinging to me? She's in a bad mood. I just, because imagine inside my body, the sugars are so high. I just don't want to do anything. I'm just feeling really, And so we have one cousin who has diabetes, but he got it quite late, and he happened to have a blood testing meter. He's like, why don't you just check her bloods? And they were a bit higher than usual. So when we went to the doctors, they said they couldn't diagnose me because diabetes has like a honeymoon phase. Right. So what happens is the pancreas is still sputtering, like sending insulin out, but it's not enough.
Not how it's supposed to.
Yeah. So according to the tests, it's doing its job. But according to human intuition, there's something that's not right.
Right.
So then we came back to Zambia, and my mom was like, no, this is still not right. So we happened to go to Joburg at the time, and you know, I'm grateful to my family to be able to take me there. And as soon as they checked my bloods, they were like, let's put her on insulin straight away. And when they put me on insulin, my mom was like, okay, she's acting like herself again. She's like, I could see a stark difference between how she was before and how she is now. I was playing. I was my bright.
More yourself.
Yeah, more myself.
Like,
I'm a happy chappy. I just go chat to everyone, and I was back to that. The one thing I do recall very, very strongly is in the hospital bed, the nurse would come along and she would give me my insulin, but she wouldn't just do this. She would stab me like this. And so I remember just, obviously it's hurting,
right.
but it's an authority figure. What do you say? What do you do? So I was like, I can't say anything. Once the nurse went, I was like, Mummy, can you see my legs? And I had bruises, blue. I remember green and blue bruises all over. And I'm like, it hurts whenever she gives the injection.
Wow.
But it's something which I already intuitively know. Don't complain about it because this is what's making you better.
Okay.
I knew that somewhere. So it's almost, again, that respect level. Like, how do you go and complain about something that's hurting you when it's actually saving you?
Right.
So I was like...
And in our culture, there is an African thing where it's like if somebody believes they're doing something good for you, you have to be appreciative.
You just appreciate it.
You can't even say that you're hurting.
Yeah. So I remember my mom saying to the nurse, I remember the conversation, she's like, can you show me? She's asked the nurse, can you teach me how to inject? Because when you inject her, it's hurting her. And so up until, for the next, I'd say up until I was 12 or 13, my mom would inject me. But there was school trips, there was places I wanted to go. And I said, Mom, I can't not go on the trip because I'm never going to grow up. Teach me how to give my own injection. So growing up, even from 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years old, you're in school. I didn't think anything was wrong with me.
Right.
I mean, my parents told me, eat like this, whatever you need. I was myself. But then in school, when, you want to go to a birthday party or everyone's sharing their break times and suddenly I couldn't because I'm like,
you have to watch.
Yeah.
What you're eating.
And I was like, can I? Should I? Because for me, I didn't know any different. I'm like, why should I share my break time? Oh, that sounds fun. Oh, but I can't. And, breaking that down in my head, as a child, you don't know any different. But as time has gone by, you're like, I've actually held myself back from a lot of things.
Right.
And I remember very clearly there was a birthday party I went to and my mum went to go and speak to the mum, explaining like, these are her sandwiches. This is her fruit. This is what she's supposed to eat. Because my mom was like, I don't know what they're going to have there for you. This is what the nurse has told you to eat at this time.
Right.
We don't know what crisps will do to you. I'm not going to go give you a blood checking meter. Now I'm going to teach another mother how to check your bloods. So this is your little pack. And I remember just standing there and looking at these kids looking at me. And I'm realizing...
And this is from how old?
I was probably... it was my first year I'd moved to ISL after Nkwazi. And it was grade 4. So 7?
Oh, wow.
7
years old.
But it's just a feeling of... kids looking at you, they might not have judged me, but I do know they're like, what is going on? And so even me, I'm like, what is going
you're
on?
Wondering, I'm also learning.
Why can't I just
I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't I have some of your samosa? Right?
Exactly. But I think that's what got me realizing that, so at that time, I didn't know that there was nothing wrong with me. I just felt different. But as years have gone by, I realized it's the world that didn't understand.
Right.
So it's not that there was something wrong with me, but it's very easy for anyone who's diagnosed with something, whether it's diabetes or not, to internalize saying, I'm wrong.
Stigmatized.
Exactly.
Stigma as
This
well
is the
in
stigma.
Africa.
Yeah.
Well, not just in Africa, just in different countries in society.
But cultural communities especially, this is why I focus on cultural diabetes or cultural wellness. Because at that time, I was like, there's something wrong with me.
Right.
And I held that for so long until later I'm like, no, it's because I just didn't understand. Because if there's something wrong with me, then how am I able to do X, Y, Z in my life?
Right. So, your parents, man, angels.
Yes.
Amazing. And obviously you're saying with you being a child, it was them that understood it. What are some of the steps that they took to begin to understand what was going on with you? Was it just from their doctors in Zambia and finding out about it, them giving them the information and things like that? Or...
That's a good question.
I'll tell you, the reason I ask that is because we had a conversation earlier where we were talking about sometimes there can be misconceptions when it comes to certain things. And the quickest thing for our people to go to is witchcraft. And they'll say, well, this child has been bewitched or some people have lost their people thinking
100%.
that it's something that had to do with that. When they look back because of some of the education that you've now been given is because they realize, oh, you know what, it could have been it could have been diabetes and that kind of thing. So It's more so, to say, was it the doctors? Did they go out to seek the information?
No,
about
so
the condition?
I shouldn't laugh about the witchcraft stuff
because I hear where you come from.
But it's frustrating because witchcraft and a medical condition are two separate
completely
things.
different things. Yeah.
But to be honest, growing up, I didn't know any of these misconceptions.
Right.
The first time I ever heard it was I went out on a date with someone.
Okay.
And I must have been, 18 years old.
Right.
And he asked if diabetes is transferable.
Oh wow.
And I was like what? Like
a disease,
like a STD, or do I sneeze on you, or like?
Yeah.
I was like,
I shouldn't laugh also, but I'm laughing at the ignorance.
Yes.
The ignorance.
Yes.
You can't help but
Yes.
laugh, right?
But the thing is, the fact that I had to wait until 18 years old to hear this. Someone said to me, "Oh, you could never have children because you're diabetic," and I'm like, Why? But I didn't hear these things because my parents had created such a safe haven for me.
Right.
And the thing is, I was told by the nurses, eat this, do this. My mom would be on the phone to the nurse in South Africa once a week, which now is all changed because now we have sensors and things like that. But I remember the nurse, what did you eat on Tuesday at 9 o'clock at night? I don't know. But that's how analog it was back then. And the thing is, I always say, be careful what you ask for, what you wish for. My mom always wanted to be a nurse. And so now she's checking my bloods, injecting me. So I said, Mom, you didn't be specific. You want to be a nurse,
God,
but you didn't say you want to be a nurse in a hospital.
Right.
You know?
And then now you got a child.
Yeah.
You have to be a nurse to me. Yeah.
As a result, she would, whatever the nurse told her, I followed that. So what we did was, we're already eating quite healthy anyway. But in terms of the Indian food at home, we change, like chapatis just turned to brown flour, for example. Or we use a little bit of less oil. Or, for example, if it was certain kinds of chicken or certain types of, dals, we would make sure it's all homemade as such. That we never had biscuits in the household, things like that. If we did, I'd have a treat that we would have got from South Africa, maybe.
Okay.
So again, I've never really eaten anything outside of what I knew. And then my dad, bless him, through golf, because he's such an avid golf player. Okay. He met Dr. Lumwe, and Dr. Lumwe is the veteran. He is the patron of diabetes, and he's the main endocrinologist in Zambia. Okay. And I think we've only had one main one for the longest time. And they must have met. He's a doctor in the army, and he must have started talking to my dad and vice versa and said, oh, my daughter is diabetic, or we think she is. So he became my doctor in Zambia as a result. But this is just my dad networking and talking, and he found the one diabetic doctor.
Oh, wow.
Until today, we probably only have about 7 doctors in the whole country, not Lusaka, the whole country.
Oh,
but
7 that
but they're not even
specialized.
But they're not diabetic specialists. Like he's an endocrinologist. Some of them are diabetologists, some are endos, some are just, they had the interest in there, but we don't have an endocrinologist like Dr. Lumwe. But imagine at that time, my dad just happened to find this man playing golf with him, and that doctor started looking after me. So he's like my uncle. Oh, so amazing. I feel like my mom, through her love of medicine, biology, cooking healthy, etc., became my nurse, and I was given that, and my dad just gave me what the doctor said, and I've stuck within that. So suddenly I didn't know anything different from a social point of view until I got older. And instead of me saying, why do they think that? I mean, obviously I was upset. I'm like, why would you think that it's transferable? Or there's something wrong with me.
Is that?
Yeah. And I think only later did I connect the dots about, as a child, I felt different, etc. But I felt different. I don't know why they were judging me. I just felt different. Whereas now someone said it to my face. He's like, is it transferable? Oh, you can't have kids. And I'm like, what? And that's when it started in me. I'm like, no, do you know what this is? I'm clearly fine. It's the ignorance, and the ignorance can be chosen, or you can educate. And that's when it got me going. I'm like, I have to tell people and talk about this, because they wouldn't have these kinds of conversations with me because they would have the knowledge, but they don't have the knowledge. So actually it's them kind of asking me what is correct. That's basically how I saw it. Instead of me taking it personally and saying, oh no, they're this, I actually take it as an opportunity to educate.
There you go. I mean, and so when you started, I know you're saying it was around when you were 18. What did that look like in terms of education? Because I know we'll bring it back to now, but now so much has changed. It's so easy, tech. like people can just vlog the camera phones and things
Yeah.
like that. They can do podcasts like these ones.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
imagining that when you're starting out, when you're 18, these mediums weren't there at that point. So what were some of the methods that you took to kind of educate people?
So it was just me and my voice and talking to people, but also I hadn't started it formally at that point in time. It was just me realizing where the world was at. But I was also on my own journey. You know, I was 18, you know, in a world where you look online and they're like skinny Caucasian girls and you're like, oh, that's cool, then I'm going to try and be cool,
like?
you know?
Okay, cool, yeah.
And so I kind of put the diabetes aside and I said, no, you know what? I don't want people to judge me.
Right.
So I'm not going to judge myself, and therefore I'm going to do everything I want to do in this life. And I never let the diabetes hold me back. Double-edged sword, because at that point in time I was looking at magazines, all these skinny women, part of the, how do I say? So my family gave me a VHS tape with Claudia Schiffer workouts. So if I didn't go outside to exercise my blood sugars off, because again, it's not like you can just take insulin as and when you want. I was told, okay, if your sugars are high, go out, play badminton, go and cycle.
Right.
Sometimes it was raining or it was cold outside. So they got me this VHS tape.
Inside, yeah.
And I would do these workouts by Claudia Schiffer. But again, I look back at these videos and I'm like, it's a skinny Caucasian woman. I don't look anything like her.
To do with me. Yeah. What was that?
Yeah. And but I would still do the exercise, of course. But at like 18, I was like, no. I remember one person saying to me, "Oh, I think they must have highlighted that I'm a bit curvier on my hips," and I took it like offensively in the sense like they were like, "Oh, you're a bit chubby," and so I was like,
did they use those exact words?
no, but I took it that way in the sense like I felt fat, even though I'm not, and also. Again, from Indian communities, Zambian communities, curves are what we
appreciate.
Yes, we appreciate them and we respect
Absolutely.
them, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I was like, okay, no. In order for me to be cool and accepted and, fashionable, I need to be skinny.
Right.
So I remember exercising more. I would eat healthy, but then sometimes I would also reduce how much I'm eating. And why I'm saying this is because I know there's a lot of diabetics out there who might be on the bigger side. They're like, no, I don't want to tell anyone I'm diabetic. And this is type 1, so this is even worse. And I remember losing so much weight and everyone's complimenting me and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Which nowadays I'm like, no, that's not right, because you shouldn't compliment someone when they're skinny. Like this, how many Indian like aunties are like, oh, you're gaining weight or you're losing weight. You're like, why is weight even an issue?
Right.
Unless it's affecting your health. But if you're going to the gym and you're eating, but you just happen to be a bit big boned, it's okay as long as you're exercising and looking after yourself.
Yeah.
So at 18, I remember having a diabetic fit, actually a few of them, because I'd lost so much weight. There was not enough glucose stored in my liver.
Right.
And I remember, luckily my siblings were around, but they found me like fitting. And after that, I said, why am I affecting my health to look cool for people who I'm not even sure they like me or not?
Right.
I should like myself.
And what difference does it make to them, how you look and what weight you are?
Exactly. Yeah. So going back to the diabetes, it was a double-edged sword, because there's a part of me that's like, I want to live a full life. I don't want the diabetes to get in the way. But at the same time, I didn't take into account that my body acts differently in terms of the liver not having enough glucose. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think my advocacy has been like building over years. I've just more formalized it in the last, I'd say 5 years. But these kind of conversations, these stigmas, etc. Now when I sit down and consolidate, I'm like, wait, at 7, this happened. At 12, this happened. At 18, this happened. And now as I'm talking more about it, a lot of people are coming to me saying, but like I had someone on TikTok the other day message me and she's like, you know what? How do you manage relationships? Because when you come to a certain age of marrying age, etc., a lot of men think that you're defected. And I'm like, what? But then it brought me back to the guy who asked me if diabetes is transferable. It brought me back to the person who said, you can't have kids. And I'm thinking, there's a reason why I've gone through this and it's not broken me, because I'm meant to go and help another generation of people.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
if they're hearing this on a day-to-day basis, I was strong enough to say, no, I read the books, etc. But as you said, yes, we're living in a global world right now. But unfortunately, in Zambia, we don't have the correct information. Yes, people can vlog, and there's plenty of people out there, but they're not necessarily diabetic. They're not necessarily, if they are, they're not necessarily healthy diabetic.
Yep.
And also we don't, if we have one endocrinologist in the whole country, like where is the information trickling down from? So
who's educating people?
So I have 35 years of lived experience where I've done the lows, I've come up high. That's why I'm also very open about my high blood sugars as well. I'm not saying it's perfect all the time. I have very low blood sugars, I have very high blood sugars, but I don't let it stop me.
You find a way to balance it.
Yeah, and I don't let it stop me, because if I present a perfect life, people will be like, well, that's not real either. And it needs to be relatable. So there's times I don't want to vlog what I'm going through, because I'm also like low blood sugar, high blood sugar, I'm in a moment, but I know it's going to help someone.
Absolutely.
It's going to help someone say, okay, if she can do it, and despite that moment, she was able to go to work that day, or, cook a nice meal, she didn't get demoralized, so can I.
Absolutely. And do you find that does something for you as well? As much as obviously the viewer, I'm sure it will go towards helping so many people.
100%.
But for you in doing that, does that also give you something back?
100%. I always say the day I go to my maker, I'm going to have like a golden bed.
There you go. Like, look, I did, Lord, yeah.
No, but
I did good, right?
But you know what I also say? I find it, I'm very spiritual about this. So for example, when I was born, I was 10 years late. So as my dad says, I'm an accidental child. And I didn't understand that my whole life. And he'd laugh about it. I'm thinking, it must be a surprise.
Wait, so 10 years late, you said?
So
what does that mean?
Between the last brother and me, there's a 10-year gap.
10 years. Wow.
And so I was born in 86. Yes, I'm giving my age away.
Oh, yeah.
But imagine then, my mom, Indian mom, she had me at the age of 36. Like, that's a late age. Like, nowadays, if you have a child at 36, it's kind of normal. But back then, in the 80s,
like, what were you waiting for? Right. Okay,
so I believe that I was born 10 years late, and then diabetes came 5 years later. Now imagine if I was born at the same time as my brother, I would have been at this age 10 years ago. Diabetes would not be as rife as it is now. It's always been there, but especially in Africa, in Zambia right now, like 10 years ago, when I started doing some of my talks for diabetes, no one showed up. There's so many, no one showed up.
Really?
Whereas now every second person is like, my sister died of it. I've got someone's got a amputation, something of some sort.
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't it weird how right now, as the markets have changed, as we're trying to be like the West and eat the junk, and then we're all at desks. This is how Zambia is right now. Zambia actually is the second fastest growing rate of diabetes after Tanzania.
No, that's a real stat.
Yeah. And but bearing in mind, because Africa is so focused on infectious diseases, our numbers are not even fully correct. That's what I've been able to find and research. But I hear from the ground every second person having diabetes.
So apart from the changes in culture, it's a very interesting stat, that one. Wow. Apart from the changes in culture, what you're saying, like adapting more to American culture where people are just stationary and they're not exercising and things like that. What else would you say is contributing to that?
So,
would you say that the diet that we eat
yes and no
adds to that?
Yes and no. So I have written quite a few articles about this. I write for Newsdiggers in Zambia. Okay. The thing is, I always call it the grandpa diet. So the way our grandparents used to eat, they would have 1-2 lumps of shima. They may have 3-4 stacks of chapatis in a stack. But the thing is, they went out onto the field, onto the railroad, and they burnt it off. They could have a cup of tea with like 5 teaspoons of sugar.
So that labor, that physical labor that they were doing.
Yes. Yeah. And the way the food was then, it's all organic. Like it was literally milled, and you're just making that. You're not putting extra oil and this and that. So now we're living in this world where we're getting the convenience foods in. Superficial. Yeah. And we have that in Zambia. Not going to mention any company names. Okay. Yeah. Let's not. We're sitting at desks because now that corporate area has the corporate industry is booming in Zambia. Oh, wow. Yes, there's people on the fields. Yes, but then those guys are going to the companies to get their fried chicken, and there's the juices, etc. So they want their quick fix, their quick drink. Yeah. Yes, they're burning it off, but when they go home at night, it might not necessarily be roll meal. It might be breakfast meal, whatever's cheaper. Then in terms of like chapatis and things, like we eat chapatis every lunchtime, but not a lot of Indian families are eating the homegrown foods. Right. So there's a lot of just pastas and quick and this and that. So that's number 2. Number 3, it's the wanting to be like America is one thing, but also aspirationally, like if you've come from a small town, let's just say Kabwe or something like that, and you come to the big city, as soon as you've made a little bit of money, you want to put it on your Instagram or your TikTok or your Facebook status, like, oh, look, I've got a energy drink or something like, because it shows that you've made
Status.
it. It's status. And that's the thing. It's frustrating because people in the West are paying $10 for an organic apple when you can go outside in your own garden and just get your own.
It's just free.
It's free, it's cheap, it's economical, and it's healthy. There's no pesticides.
I don't know, this myth, I wonder who painted this whole thing where it's like takeaway is seen as luxury back home. Because I remember even growing up, like takeaway was a treat, like chicken and chips.
So just once a week.
Right. It was seen as a treat. And then so when you come to it's like you're eating it because, as a child, we're made to think that this is good, this is luxury. But when you think about it, it's not good for you.
No.
Right? It's likely making you sick.
It is very.
So you need to be going the opposite direction. Because even, I'm sure you agree, in African culture, being stocky and big with a big belly, you're considered to be a big man, right? That means that is the epitome of health, except it's not.
It's not.
Do you get what I mean? So
that
what
shows
is that about?
The mullah is coming in.
Right. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm changing. I say,
and that's the thing. When someone's losing weight, they're like,
what's going on?
Are you sick? Do you have HIV? Is there malaria?
First question.
And then they'll do every check. Even when you say, I'm a bit fatigued, you know, they go to the doctors.
Fatigue.
HIV, malaria.
Yeah.
Those are the ones they check. They don't check for diabetes.
Oh man, that's a shame.
This is something that I'm really pushing for with policy change to make sure that one little blood test, that little strip, is probably at 10 cents, 50 cents on the dollar, maybe. If you can check someone's blood sugar early enough, you will save maybe $50,000, $20,000 to that hospital of doing the amputation or the eye. You know, you could lose an eye. These are the really bad complications of diabetes. But if you saved it early enough because you screened for it, these are costs that Ministry of Health and the country don't need. They can reduce that by just doing those little finger check things. The little
There you go. I mean, you said you're working on it. Are you working with some of the government officials and things like that?
I am part of the Diabetes Association. So we are trying to move things. But Zambia is a little bit slow. So sometimes I have to move my own direction. So I've built my own consultancy. And as long as I've got enough people that I'm helping one-to-one. Because also, if you wait on others, you're not going to get very far. I mean, I'm all for, working with different people. And I am, but it's sometimes a little bit slow because for me, it's my heart. In those 1 week while you're waiting for someone to just check their email, someone could die.
Absolutely.
Especially, I'm not just a person who is like a doctor who's dealing with diabetes or a consultant. I am diabetic.
Right.
And there's people who, if we have the fastest rate, I would rather get my hands dirty, get into the field and go and get my own little blood testing meter and start checking people myself and say, you go to your clinic, you go here, you go here. Wow. If that means we can get some funding in, get like silos to get, USAID, whoever can come in. And if they can just assist us so that we can, people are not in the villages can get to the best doctors. Half the time it's just transport that's an issue.
Oh, wow.
So get them there. Get them the right testings, they will know what to do. So I'm the middle person, the translator, because the people who are in medical or in higher ups will be following procedures, and the people who are sick and they need help. So I'm in between.
Okay. And the consultancy that you've built, is it only to help people in Zambia, or is it something that you're doing on a global scale?
It's online as well. So what I've done is it's both in person and online. So the reason it's based in Zambia is it's a different structure. So there it is more NGO based, it's companies, corporates based, because there's a lot of times where, so here in the West, and this is the model I have online, if you need help with something, you'll find a coach online.
Okay.
There's always someone who you can download PDFs from, you can do a 1-month session with them. It's whether you need someone for mental health, you need someone for PCOS, there's always someone. So that was the model I went in with. But I realized the average Zambian doesn't have enough money to fund these things. I mean, even diabetic medication is not always on NEMA as well. So I went to Parliament and with Dr. Brown Kamanga and the Diabetes Association, and we said, if people can't access regular insulin, and Zambia's already getting the old version of insulin, it's not even the new stuff, the new pens like this, how is the average person supposed to survive? If NEMA, which is supposed to be free to them, like the NHS we have here, how are they going to, I'm thinking, how would they individually pay? So I'm going to corporates, I'm going to companies, I'm going to individuals, getting funding from embassies, NGOs, etc., and say, listen, if you pay me for my time, I am able to educate 500 people in one go. Then it's up to them. If they go to the hospital, they go to a clinic, or they want to come work with me individually, that's me being able to create that silo to say, listen, I can get to more people to have my time covered, but rather than me do it individually. So it's two different systems. So for Zambia, it's that, because again, it's, you know what Zambia is like. It's more personable. It's networking. It's person to person. Who's your brew? You're this one.
It's all kind of snail pace.
Whereas here, and not here, just anyone in the diaspora.
Right. That's where I was going to go. Yeah.
They can access me online because. So I do a 45-minute call, and we can talk about your diabetes, or if you're trying to prevent diabetes, or you're type 2. I've had a lot of women who have gestational diabetes, and they're like, we're hungry, we can't eat. So I'm doing that online, and then if you want to do like a monthly, so I'm accessible.
Is there a way that they can get through to you, whether it's socials, or what's the easiest way for people that will be watching this and they're considering they want to get in touch? So
mainly on my Instagram, on my links, it's
what's
there.
Your Instagram?
It's by KC, so its.by.kc, and then I've got a diabetes page, which is like a full library of just diabetic information. I upload 4 posts every week. There's just always something. It's community based, conversations, etc. And then even through my YouTube channel. So my links have everything on this. If you want to book,
I'll do my best to add the links in there as well, like the YouTube. What's the handle for the YouTube?
At Kaajal Vaghela, KC.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Amazing, man. Wow. Now,
there's a lot.
I'll shift it a little bit. I see something very interesting on your print there with the leggings that you're wearing. So tell us a little bit about that and how that came out. So that's a completely different side to you as well. That the advocacy stuff, I can see that's life, man. That's your life's work.
That's my heart.
That's passion. And this is why I say when we say work, man, we don't just mean in Chito, Kumunda, but you are on work and you are on job with so many things that you're doing some serious work. That is a part of the work that you're doing. So could you tell us a little bit about that, your work as a fashion designer, perhaps how it came about and that sort of thing? Yeah.
So it still comes under wellness. At the end of the day, as a wellness entrepreneur, I mean, I've got a service that I provide people, but this is the product I provide, because, so I studied fashion merchandising and business, fashion business at university here in the UK. And I went back to Zambia. My dad runs City Clothing Factory, and I thought, I'm going to go back and start a clothing brand, and it's going to be easy.
Take over the family business,
my dad.
My own division, my own side, make a little bit of quick buck.
But my dad is a workhorse. Like, he made me work Saturdays and Sundays.
The old school people don't mess about,
And he's still there. It's that's why I keep saying the grandfather diet is not just what you eat. It's also your mindset, like that way of getting things done. Like here these days, we short attention span. Oh, Instagram this, he said this, and you stick to the plan, and just don't think about your emotions. Just stick to the plan. You know. So I remember, So I went back and I started my own clothing range because that time, suits and blazers were the fashion, but also I liked the idea of. Because growing up in Zambia, I went to international school and Kwasi school. We have what I love about Zambia is it's a mix. It's a global community there.
Absolutely.
I had more friends there who are from Greece and from Thailand and all sorts of different places, and Denmark,
at the
Italy.
International,
and also just outside, just I guess through business and life and family. And I loved the idea that obviously people in corporate. These expats would want to wear, or not even just expats, even, as I said, the corporate industry was growing. Zambians in corporate, they want to wear something that is corporate, which is very European because you're going to wear suits. But you also want to be very proud of where you come from.
Africa.
So what I did was I got chitenge and I would put it on the inside. I would make tailor-made suits. So with the factory, this is what they were good at anyway. But I loved that clean, slick British styling. But then let's just tweak it with chitenge. So I did that, and then I was running the embroidery department. So we brought in new machinery. My dad's like, well, she's got this brain of hers, but she's going to run it. So when the machine would be off, there's no orders for the factory. He's like, whatever orders you need, get them done. At least the machine keeps running. That way it's economies of scale.
Yeah.
So I would customize people's jackets. They'd have their name on the inside. We did so many things, and I had a great little business going on. However, the pandemic happened.
Yes.
So I'm coming back to this.
Okay.
Pandemic happened. So I came here to see my sister, packed a bag for 3 weeks, and it turned into 3 years.
Oh my God. See how life works.
Yeah. Honestly, I think
Wow.
no, but I do believe God was behind it. He was like, if I don't put something major in front of this girl, she will never leave the country and expand herself. Because she loves Zambia too much.
Right. So briefly, before we even get to the print, because it's a whole lit story, guys, you're going to hear it. Tell us a little bit about the pivot. So take us back. You're here, you've come for a temporary visit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, pandemic hits. How long did it take you for you to realize that you had to do a hard pivot? And then what was that pivot? Just temporarily, maybe summarize it for us.
It was, I think, at the 6-month mark. So
after 6 months, that's when you started looking for jobs.
No, yeah.
Okay.
So at
Really?
February,
Wow.
I
Yeah.
came here in February.
Yeah.
March is when it hit.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, it'll be done in a month.
It's okay. Yeah.
Then we're done another month.
Uh-huh.
And month 3, I'm like, this is not looking very good. And I'm like, no. I'm hopeful. I was just like, okay. At September, there was this moment. I just said, and my sister even said, she's like, I think you have to act as though you've moved here.
Right. How were you keeping busy in the meantime, just briefly? Like, the 6 months leading
I was
up,
losing my mind. No, I was losing my mind.
Were you watching Netflix? Just chilling? And,
I mean, we all watched that. What's that Tiger something? What's that guy?
Oh, yeah, Tiger Blood. That guy. Yeah,
that weird guy with
Netflix. Yes.
Watched that. I remember there was some friends of mine. We would do like Netflix parties. We would watch together. I remember we when we were allowed to go to Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
I would get some of my favorite things and I would cook things. I was playing around with TikTok. Like I was quite lost at that time because I thought I've set up this whole business in Zambia. I've got everything running for me there, and now I'm here and it's cold. And no, we had the best summer that time. So I was like, how many times can you sit outside? And I'm a very active person. Yeah, I'm an active person, and I need to have something to do. I'm pulled by purpose. I'm pulled by. I won't just do things for the sake of as well.
Right.
So I was losing my mind, and I thought, okay, how much YouTube can you watch? Etc. And I think, what was it at that point in time? I found a lot of courses on YouTube, and I found one for graphic design because, again, missing home. I thought, I'd taken some pictures of some chitenge from Kamwala, and I was like, let me just play around with it. And suddenly I was teaching myself PNGs and SVGs and all sorts of things. Because I need this brain moving. If it dulls, I'm done.
What are you gonna do? And guess what? It's in your blood.
Yeah.
So you're just gravitating back to home.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's just I'm a creative, you know. So I was just doing that in the background, different courses. I signed up to all sorts of. Everyone was doing all sorts of coaching online.
Right.
But at some point, at the 6-month mark, I'm like, I'm also running out of money. Because I hadn't transferred enough, and also, what's my kwacha?
Because you didn't plan to stay here for 6 months.
And also, like, I wasn't earning in the 6 months, you know? So I was like, what's my kwacha, the remaining parts of my kwacha going to do for me in pounds? And I was like, So luckily, and this is where everyone's like, oh, you know, but you're diabetic, you can't go out. I'm like,
what? What's that got to do with anything, mate?
But I think, at that time, they were painting diabetics to be type 2 diabetics are weak in the sense.
Okay.
Because,
no, actually, I take back what I said. Okay, yeah.
But the thing is, with type 2, if you've got like badly controlled blood sugars, it affects all parts of your body. Whereas with type 1s, we're actually very good. It's just the pancreas. And I'm a very healthy diabetic. So I was like, I'm going for my walks. I'm doing all of this. No, you can't go. I said, who's going to tell me? So I put a mask on. I would always have hand sanitizer. And I just went out looking for jobs. And I remember there was this small embroidery company. A lot of people started doing home businesses where they would customize like baby bags and things. So I said, who's manufacturing these? Because
where are they coming from?
I have a manufacturing brain.
Right.
So then I would research like on Facebook, like who's tagging what companies, and I inboxed those companies on Facebook, and I said, do you need someone to service your machine, to set up your production line, to optimize, because clearly this is what people want. And I remember one company saying, yeah, just come in, and I got a job with them for a month. But the only reason it ended is because my nephew caught COVID at school, gave it to my sister, and because I was in the same household. I had to tell. I couldn't. Yeah, I told the company. I said, "Listen, I can't come to work because someone in my household has COVID.
Ah,
but they treated me so badly, they were like, never come back.
What?
That's what and I was like, okay. Again, it's fine.
Figure
It's
something
fine.
else out.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's all good.
And I went through.
I don't need you anyway.
It was to be honest, they weren't actually very good. They weren't actively putting COVID measures in place anyway. So I was like, here I am sanitizing, and you guys are all just touching doorknobs,
Doing whatever,
people coming in. I'm like, no, it's okay. I want to look after my health.
Right.
Thereafter, I went through like 4 different jobs, including becoming a vaccinator.
Oh, wow.
Because I inject myself every day. I was like, well,
this is what I do. I've been doing this for life.
Yeah, I might as well.
I'm experienced.
Yeah.
There
And
you
so
go.
in the end, during this time, every time I got it, so I worked for Primark, I worked for so many different places, but there would be a new lockdown. There'd be a new lockdown. So I'd work in a company, a month later it ends. Another company, but every time I got my first £300, my first like £600, I would save it and put it towards trying out designing my leggings. Because I thought, hold on, during the pandemic, everyone's now working from home. And there were so many memes. They're like, you've got a shirt here, but you've got shorts here. You know, people were exercising at home. And so we moved from wearing corporate to like leggings, hoodies. And I said, hold on, if I'm going to wear a hoodie out, wouldn't it be cool to have something that's got a bit of a print on it?
Right.
And so I was like, and I found this, and I'd also gone to different companies like factories. And again, I'm old school. I go and knock on doors. I came here to London. Everyone's like, no, this is just our mailing office. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm really
I gotta
not.
go somewhere else and do it again.
So I found all their online websites, worked with them, and I worked with whatever I'd stashed and the monies I've got from the different jobs. Like one sample would be like £26. And I'm like, in Kwacha, this is insane.
Yeah.
And this is such a complete opposite to what I had done in Zambia.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know how to figure it out. And I was like, okay, let's just try. Let's try the prints that you've learned during from your YouTube course. Let's work with this factory. Let's pay this £26 plus shipping and blah, 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 £40 going out of my pocket. Let's see the quality of this. And that's how I tested and tested and tested. And then getting photography done. No one would want to meet up because you're not allowed to meet in person. And I was like,
illegal.
yeah.
So
it was
how did
just
you make that
2
work?
or 3 like years of just trying to build and build and build. And then luckily there's a friend of mine, he's a gym photographer I met through a friend of a friend. And I said, and at that time I was in my last, like my final job. I worked for the UK HSA, so the Health Security Agency. And I met really good friends. I worked in the COVID labs. I mean, you need staff.
And
I've done medical.
Right. How did you end up getting that job? Like how that come
So
about?
after all the other jobs of ending of like 1 month, my sister was already working for UK HSA and they needed data entry staff. So I would do that. But then they needed staff on site and it was local to me. So I would go on site. But then because I was a bit of a floater, I went to go and help in the COVID labs and I was so good there that because again, factory assembly line optimization, when all these samples would come in, I would get them done so quickly. I would organize everyone and say, you do this, you do this. We would be getting all these, there was millions of tests coming in. I got it all done really quickly. And they're like,
no way.
would you like to work downstairs? And I said, is it a higher pay? Yes, it was. I said, yes, please. So I moved up. I moved up so quickly in the ranks at the Health Security Agency.
Opportunity meets skill. There you go. Yeah.
And so because of that, I met a lot of young staff members who became my friends.
Okay.
And then they became part of my campaign. So because now we're allowed to be a little bit around each other, this photographer friend, I said, okay, can we meet in London on this day? These are the clothes. We made one shoot after like 2 years of just trying. And it looked great, but it just had that London background. And I'm like, it needs to look like an African brand because these prints are African. Yeah. It's my heritage. I wanted someone to wear it and be like, I'm wearing my country on my back. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and so I did that shoot anyway. I mean, I couldn't come to Zambia anyway. And then what I did was when I did come to Zambia, 6 months later, when Zambia came off the red list, that's when I did that photo shoot.
Okay.
And then just been building it since. It's all on a website, so
Yes.
it gets manufactured in Europe, but I designed it. Everything is mine. I'm not getting the Chinese to take our chitenges. I'm doing it myself.
Yes, I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, wow. And you said you learned to make the prints off of using, like, you did your own graphics, like designs, using softwares and
that
things like that.
YouTube course that I did taught me how to, work pixelations and bezels. Bezels, it was so long ago.
Right.
And I created my own prints in different colors. I would take chitenge and I would tone it down because obviously you can't wear African prints in UK because it's just
which
grey.
is like really typical.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of make it
Tone
a
it
little bit
down.
more palatable.
Yeah.
I hear it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So then that was collection 1, which is called the Zikomo collection because it meant thank you.
Of course.
Thank you to everyone waiting on me while I pivoted. But also it's just me saying I'm grateful. I'm grateful for life. Like during the pandemic, like we lost so many people.
Absolutely.
We lost so much of our lives. And it's just being grateful that you're here. So that was the Zikomo collection. And then I moved on to this, which is a bit more diaspora based. Right. So this little flower design, if anyone can see, is actually called Nesirewe, which means unity and harmony in Ghanaian. I just thought it was a really pretty little flower.
Yeah.
It's pretty to look at, but also 3 or 4 national anthems in Africa all have that unity and harmony. Like even in our national anthem, there's Stand and Sing Zambia, Proud and Free, unity. So I wanted to bring all of Africa together. The thing is, the diaspora of Africans you're everywhere. And if you want to buy something that's from home or reminds you of home, but still has the quality that can stretch, like stretchy chitenge we don't have.
Right.
I've technically made stretchy chitenge that can be worn in the West.
Amazing.
So imagine you're
and that's gym wear, right? Because people are into gym, so they can wear this
and
at
then
the gym.
It comes back down to diabetes as well, or whatever health condition that you want to prevent, look after.
Yeah.
You can wear something that's like, oh, this is one of ours.
Good.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I love Nike and all these different brands, but I mean, if you have one of your own and you're like,
it makes you feel even better. Yeah. And I say athleisure right now is the in thing. Like, people wear athleisure regular.
Yeah.
Right? They're just walking about. It's not even just about being at the gym that they do it.
I mean, I always wear these with heels.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I go out wearing them with heels. Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
What's the brand itself? What is it called again?
So it's my full name, but it's KC Sportswear. So there's KC Vaghela.
Yeah, and the different sections of it, like you've called that one.
Yeah, so this is the Umodzi collection, all of us.
Ah, okay. Absolutely amazing. Now, take us back. Obviously, the inspiration of the textile and the clothing, you come from like a family that I would say is royalty when it comes to textiles in Zambia, right? Like a company formed a while ago just from how your dad came to the country, some of the prominent people that they've worked with, like a legacy business that has been solid in the country. Give us a little bit of background in regards to that. I know it's a question that's packing a lot, but perhaps you can go from how, the people that came before you ended up in Zambia and things like that. I know, if I'm not mistaken, your mom is was born in Uganda?
Yes, that's right.
Right? So I'm just saying, like, you guys are just like Africa, right? So tell us a little bit about that, the rich history of that and how the business came about. Now that's inspired you as well. I know there's a lot in that. But
Thank you for that very lovely introduction to my family business. It's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
So City Clothing Factory, not Lusaka Clothing, because it's two different things.
Yeah, City Clothing Factory. Get that right.
And we're still on Freedom Way. Freedom Way? Yes.
I remember that one. Oh, yeah.
And it's still the same location that we work in now, etc. So it's not like we've moved. We're still in the CBD.
Yeah.
Mom's from Uganda. She was born there, and Dad was born in Mozambique.
No way. Your dad was born in Mozambique? No way.
So we're 3 generations into Africa, if you think about it. Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about the family before we go into City Clothing. Okay. So Granddad came from India and he took one of the ships. Some of the ships were going to Kenya and some were coming to Mozambique. He just picked Mozambique. And he set up a tailoring shop. Again, we're 3 generations tailors as well. I'm 3rd generation. Set up a tailoring shop. And what he did was he made chef's uniforms for those on the Rhodesia Railroad. And it was coming from Beira that would go through Salisbury, which is now Harare, Lusaka, all the way. If I'm not mistaken, is it the Tazara Rail? But it's the Rhodesia Railroad, basically all the way up to Kenya. Tanzania. So what he would do is he would do a barter system. So he would make the chef's uniform and they would give him food. So potatoes, meat, etc. So he then became the man to go to for food. Because we're a vegetarian family. Well, not now, but back then, come from India, vegetarians, Indians tend to be vegetarian. Okay. So he would then sell the meat or sell the potato. He would be making money that way. But then what happened is obviously, so he was in Mozambique for 30 years. This man could not speak English. He could only write and speak Gujarati, which is my mother tongue.
Okay.
He taught himself Portuguese in order to do business. So that's why language is such a big thing when you do business.
You just said taught himself.
He taught himself. Yeah. He taught himself because...
Now I see. Now it's making sense. Like a lot of the stuff that you've been... And this is granddad, yeah?
This is granddad,
This is amazing. Okay, cool,
because, push comes to shove. What are you going to do?
You've got to teach yourself. You got to figure it out. Yeah, absolutely. I agree, yeah.
So he taught himself Portuguese, and that's how he continued business there. So... those who would come on and off the trains told him, like a little birdie who said, it's actually safer to go inland because you're on the coast right now. You don't know what's going to happen with weather and, that kind of thing. It's just safer to go inland. Bearing in mind, right now, he has now had 3 kids. My dad was 4 kids at this point. My dad was the last one born there. Now his first wife died, second wife died. So now he's now having to look after, setting up business, moving kids into inland to be more safe. 4 kids without a mom, like it was stressful for this man. But he made the way. They came to Salisbury, Harare, to see if they could set up there. Didn't really feel it. And they set up in Livingston. So we actually still have the building that was called Imperial Tailoring back then. It was my granddad, my uncle, and my dad was in and out, but he was quite young. I guess he was 19, 20 or so.
Okay.
And then at about that age, my dad was the first son to be educated in the UK. I don't know how granddad did it.
Way.
They didn't have WhatsApp or whatever. I don't know how the story is, but all I know is my dad came to the UK.
So your granddad sent him to go get educated abroad. Okay.
So he came and did a tailoring course in London. And again, my granddad would send a certain amount of money, but my dad got like a couple of jobs to be able to pay extra. So he worked in a bakery. So he would get his food fresh because he works in a bakery, and then anything extra he would save.
Did you guys have family here?
No.
Did you have community here?
No, so at that time, because my dad is now one of the eldest, we didn't have anyone here. After that, that's when my other uncles had moved to the UK, and now we have a big prominent family here. But at that time, my dad was the first.
So like when granddad is sending your dad, he's just sending him into the wilderness.
I think the only thing exactly. Yeah. The only thing, that's why I'm like, these days we complain about small things. These people are good guys.
Like,
you have to go.
I need to read that book about your family, man. Let me know when the memoirs are coming out, because your granddad is a G.
He's a G.
But he's got my vibes. That's definitely something I would do. But no, I see, when you're now telling that story, not to take away from what you're going to say, I can see a lot of why you are the way you are, because I was saying the accolades, I didn't even read all of them, but it's like you've got a lot about you, the way you come across, the things that you do. But then when you're telling me about granddad, you're making a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean,
there you go.
But this is the thing. It's like I haven't even done half of what they've done. So imagine.
Don't take away from yourself.
No,
You've done quite a bit. But yeah, sorry. Let me not interrupt you. Go on.
No. So dad, the only person he knew was, I think there was a business person my granddad was working with, and he happened to have moved back to the UK.
Okay.
So my dad went to go and live with them, but my dad was like, I don't really want to stay here. So that's why, according to my granddad, he was staying with these friends. Mm-hmm. But my dad was like, I don't like these people, not like them, but it's just like I just don't want to be here. I want to be in London. Yeah. So he found his own way out of that. So even though he's in a country he doesn't understand, doesn't know, he's been given, provision to be in a certain place. And he's like, no, I want to do this. So then he came to London, did his tailoring course, had his little jobs on the side. And then I think it was 23 or so, he came back to Zambia. And him and his older brother said, we want to open up our own clothing line, brand, business. But we've heard that Lusaka is going to be the main central.
Okay. And what year was this?
Oh, I need to ask my dad.
Okay. Was it like the 70s, 80s?
No.
Oh, way before.
My dad was born in the 40s.
Oh, right.
So I would say 1950 something, maybe
cool.
early
Yeah.
60s.
Okay.
Probably 1960.
Okay, cool.
Because I think Zambia was still under
Just
British.
before independence, isn't it? Okay.
Because then they came, that's now I've got the timing right.
Yeah.
Then they moved to Lusaka, and again, Granddad was like, no, just stay with the family business. My dad and his brother were like, no, we're going to do our own thing. And they actually didn't speak to each other for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And they came to
like
Lusaka.
Dad and your granddad and your dad. Okay, cool.
So dad and my uncle set up, they would be living in the above of the building that they were using. They would be cutting fabrics themselves. Sometimes they'd be sleeping on the fabrics. And they put the grind in for about 2 to 3 years. And when he was about 25, they were like, he's of age, I need to get married.
Yeah.
So he went on a little tour of East Africa to find women to get married to. And my mom wasn't even on that list.
Okay.
He was...
My bad at all. Listen,
I don't know how these guys did it without WhatsApp and things these days. Here we are struggling with dating apps.
I know, right? But my man he's taking the tour.
But that's what that's the thing. Like I've grown up in a system where it's about your relationships with people. It's you pick up the phone, you have a conversation. I need help with this. I can help you with this. Yes. Yeah. Whether it's getting married or whether it's setting up a business.
Right.
It's that relation. It's that those gentlemen's agreements. It's trusting who you're working with and you really seeing their heart. 100%.
Yeah.
So actually my dad went through a whole dates with different women. The family he went to go and see, they actually had the youngest daughter, middle daughter, who was not my dad's list, but he saw her and he's like, I like her and I want to get married to her.
That's your mom?
And that was my mom.
Really?
Yeah. And she
It
was
was like, that's
her.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So very decisive my dad is. So she was 16, unfortunately. My granddad on my mom's side, he's like, but she needs to study.
Right.
So they actually, all schoolways, they actually wrote letters to each other. So it was partly arranged, but partly love.
Okay.
Which, back in that generation, they didn't have love marriages. You get married because it's business to business, families. Yeah. But they wrote letters to each other for about 2 years.
Right.
And then at 18, they got married. At 19, my sister was born.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my dad is doing all his businesses, building City Clothing Factory. And then at that point, if I'm not mistaken, that was 1962. So prior to independence. And then I think Granddad actually came to Lusaka and saw, okay, these boys are doing a good job. And then he decided what we have now as the factory, part of City Clothing. This man, again, didn't know how to build, not a civil engineer in any sort of way, not an architect. But he's like, okay, there's a piece of land here on the right-hand side of the factory. Who owns this? He went around town. He found this Jewish lady who happened to be selling that land.
No way.
Bartered
Is your granddad or your
granddad.
Okay. Cool.
Bartered it somehow, some way. Took over that land. And they built what is the factory now. I don't even know how, but they
Freedom
did.
Way?
Yeah. Wow. And then they moved things around, and then that's been standing since 1962.
Oh, man. Your family's so lit, man. So, I wish we had 2 hours for this podcast. I know we don't have time, but we're going to have to do a part 2. Because I'm saying, your dad, so your granddad does what he does. He obviously invests. He seeds in his son. He goes to London. Son comes back, does his own thing, right? Granddad waits, sees that this guy is serious. And this guy is serious because he's there hustling, doing whatever he's doing. He's not going to ask his dad. No. He didn't go ask his dad for capital. No. He didn't go and say, Dad, can you help me? Dad sees and then comes by himself to be like, you know what? You've showed me. That is amazing.
I know.
That is fantastic. I wish everybody was like that.
But you see how it's such amazing. Inspiration for me, but also it's heavy because you're like, oh my God, if they could do it that way, I can't. I don't have any excuses,
right? Yeah, I hear it. That's just absolutely phenomenal. But no, carry on.
So then, then we set up in 1962. Zambia got independence in 1964, but we were already dressing some of the troops, like the British back then, and then the Zambians. And all of that kind of governmental work my dad had already started. I don't know how he got the tenders and I don't know how he got himself out there. Yeah. Then he had, so he has a number of brothers younger than him. So they were helping a little bit, but they went to the UK. They came to the UK for further education and then they've stayed this side because they got married, they got kids, etc. So really it's been my dad hands-on in Zambia doing it. The other brother who he built with moved to Canada at that time. And then he just didn't come back.
One of the stories, he dressed the president, didn't he?
Yes, so
Right.
we made the first KK suits. You know
No
those tunics?
way.
Yeah.
Say that again. And then very briefly, how did that come about? Like in him like making a suit for KK?
So it was another golf game.
Right.
Again, my dad, networking. He happened to be at the golf club, Osaka Golf Club. He was around, they started talking. I don't know the full details of the conversation, but my dad's like, I can make you what you want to wear.
Yeah.
I think they must have shown, I think at that time there was those Nehru suits, which now get worn in the Kenyan parliament, I believe.
Okay.
But the Nehru suits, the tunics, safari suits, must have shown it to my dad or talked about it. My dad's like, yeah, no problem. We still have that fabric. I think we have some of the rolls in the warehouse.
Okay.
And he came to the factory. We still have a sheet of paper that has the measurements, says Zambian president, Kenneth Kaunda, all the measurements, and we made some of the first safari suits for KK.
Listen, that's going to make the clips. That's kind of why I asked it. But no, listen, amazing podcast. I have about 10, 20 other questions to go down, but, you know, we've come to kind of the end just because of the time that we have, and you've given so much. I really appreciate it. You are a breadth of knowledge. You're a breath of fresh air with what you're doing, an inspiration, not just yourself, but your family.
Thank you.
Especially, you've got a lifelong condition and things like that. And the way you carry it is with such grace. And I think that in itself, the way you carry yourself with it, I'm more than certain that gives you life too. Because it gives you purpose. And you're doing 100%. That, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping other people. But before we bring the podcast to a close, and as I said, we're only bringing it to a close just because we've run out of time. But really, I haven't even gone through half the the questions on the list.
Right.
We just followed the thread, and the thread was just so amazing. I would absolutely love to have you back on the podcast and have more discussions with you got. But before we forget, you're also an author.
Yes.
As if you weren't enough things, right? Fashion design, textiles, NHS. Tell us a little bit, if you can show the book actually.
Here's my little cutie.
Yes, there you go. So tell us a little bit about the book. And yeah.
So I actually wrote him during the pandemic.
Okay.
Again, out of necessity. I just felt that diabetes was confusing a lot of people. Again, I started seeing the numbers increasing, etc. Again, creative mind. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm usually in a factory creating things. And suddenly I was like, wait, AI is growing. Wait, I've got this story to tell. Let's put it all together. I'm a quick learner. And I created this book. He's a jelly bean because jelly beans are full of sugar.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yes.
Now, a child, because this is for a children's book, they won't be able to say jelly bean. So he's Jebby. He's quicker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
So he basically learns that he has this condition, this diabetes condition. It's not a medical book in any sort, but it's just educational. So he goes through the forest and he meets a blood testing meter. And it's a character. Actually, I'm going to show because these characters are pretty fun. So that's the nurse.
Amazing.
That's the nurse.
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
The blood testing meter. So he goes on his journey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he meets a blood testing meter.
Oh, wow.
So he checks his blood. He learns about glucagon. He learns injections, etc. And then he comes out of the forest. He goes back to his family, and he says, "I now feel empowered about my diabetes. Let me teach you guys." And then there's a picture of them with the whole family sitting together to eat because now he understands and he can educate them. It's simple, cute, sweet. A lot of parents who buy this to read to their children say, "We've learned more about diabetes." From the book. Yeah. Wow. And then I've had so many little children who, when they read it or their parents read it to them, they come, and even down to my nieces. Right. Anytime they see someone with a sensor or they can see them taking an injection, they ask them, "Is that person a Jebby?" So every diabetic is a Jebby.
I'm not sure what. I hope all this is trademarked, but is that your IP?
I'm in the process. I'm
pending, yeah?
It's pending. I'm trying to get it done in the UAE because it's a bigger and stronger patent that side versus.
Yeah, because from when you've said that, the book looks amazing.
Thank
by the
you.
way. And from when I've seen the quality, I can already see animations coming through.
I'm trying to get that done in Zambia.
Right. So that's why automatically I thought intellectual property. Yeah. Make sure
we have a lot of young, fresh graphic designers in Zambia. I've actually
even some animation studios coming out of Zambia.
Yeah, 100%. So I've actually made one little rendition of him, and he wears my KC clothing.
Is it? Oh wow, amazing! Double advertising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Killing two birds with one stone.
So the patent is just pending in the UAE at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely amazing. As I said, we're gonna have to draw it to an end just because of the time aspect of it. But before we completely let you go, What would you say would be your clarion call to diasporans? And part of the inspiration of this podcast is to speak to people like yourself that are not only based in Zambia, that are not only passionate about Zambia, but you are like the epitome of, because you're here, sometimes you're in Zambia, you're in UAE, and you're really daring in everything that you do. What would be your clarion call to the diasporans and also perhaps to the Zambians on the ground?
So I would say, and pun intended, always carry your country on your back. Carry home on your back.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean keep yourself closed. Be open, ask questions, be part of the world, but don't ever forget where you've come from, because that is the basis of what you take into the world. That's your light to the world, because we need a spotlight on Zambia. We need a spotlight on Africa, because that is the next frontier. So carry your country, your home on your back, but be open and share with the world and learn from the world.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts on Zedspora?
I love it.
Speak to the camera.
This is beautiful. You know what, guys? Make sure you watch Isaac. He's amazing. He's a great podcast host. And this is such a beautiful setup. Yeah. And I'm loving this conversation. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of yours.
Yes, we're so thankful for you to have come. As I said, all the way from Lusaka, mind you, London. So took a trip from London to come. We're based in Wakefield, so that to us, I think it means so much to me as a person, as a producer, but it also means a lot for the platform. And then your story also, I thought it was just the action of you coming here, but I think your story is such an inspiration. It's motivated me, has inspired me to carry on with what I'm doing.
You must.
And with the platform as well, because I think there's so many more amazing stories to be told. Yes. Where can people find you in terms of your socials? I know we gave them earlier on, but your socials and things like that.
So I'm on Instagram mainly and TikTok. So on Instagram, it's its.by.kc. So it's by KC, because everything I do is by KC. TikTok, Kaajal Vaghela, KAAJALVAGHELA. YouTube, Kaajal Vaghela KC. KC's my nickname. Where else? You can find me on LinkedIn, Kaajal Vaghela. I have my own website, so kaajalvaghela.com. And then the clothing range, you'll see them in the links there. So
cool. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you for coming, sharing, and giving to the platform. And we really are looking forward to having you again next time. Who knows, when you're back, it might be with co-hosts, because I do the one-to-ones, but I also do like a sit down with a co-host as well, more conversational. So thank you so much for coming. We are Zedspora everywhere. You just find us Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Zedspora everywhere. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.